I walked into my own house and became a stranger in it. Picture this. You've just spent a week clearing your head at the Carolina coast. Salt air, quiet mornings, first real peace you've had since burying your wife 2 years back. You pull into your driveway, already tasting that pot roast you planned for dinner. Then, you open the door, and everything's wrong. My name's Richard Carson, 57 years old, 32 years building everything from nothing in Charleston, South Carolina. That house on Magnolia Street? Every brick paid for with my hands. Every room filled with memories of my Catherine, my boy Daniel. 3 decades of life. But the photos were gone. Our wedding picture, gone. Catherine's portrait, replaced with some modern art garbage I'd never seen before. My son's baby pictures, vanished. "Daniel?" I called out. "What's going on?" That's when she appeared at the top of the stairs. Ashley, my daughter-in-law of 3 years, arms crossed, wearing this expression I'd never seen before. Cold, almost victorious. "Oh," she said flatly, "you're back." Not "welcome home," not "how was your trip," just "you're back." Like I was interrupting something. "Where are my pictures?" My voice stayed steady, but my gut was twisting. "In the garage, with the rest of your stuff." The room tilted. Have you ever felt the ground disappear under your feet while you're still standing? "Excuse me?" I managed. Ashley descended those stairs slowly. Too slowly, like she was savoring this moment. "Richard, we need to talk. My father's moving in next week. He needs the master bedroom, your room." My throat went dry. "You no longer belong here," she continued, each word a knife. "My dad needs the space, and this arrangement isn't working anymore. Subscribe now because what happens next will make you question everyone you trust." I stood frozen, briefcase still in my hand, trying to process those words in my own house, the house I built, the house Catherine died in. "This is my house, Ashley." She actually laughed. "Is it, though? Daniel's name is on the deed too, isn't it? You added him last year." My son appeared behind her then, and the look on his face. God, the look on his face. He couldn't even meet my eyes. "Dad," Daniel mumbled, "Ashley's right. You're getting older. You need care. And Frank, Ashley's dad, he lost his business. We're just trying to help family." 27 years I raised that boy. Worked double shifts so he could go to college. Held him when his mother died. And now, he couldn't look at me. "Your clothes are boxed up in the garage," Ashley said, pulling a stack of brochures from the counter. "We found a nice facility in Somerville. Very affordable. They have activities." A nursing home. They were shipping me to a nursing home? But then something clicked. Something in the way she said deed. "Daniel," I said quietly, "when exactly did I add your name to the deed?" He blinked, confused. "Last year, for estate planning, you said." I smiled then. Not a warm smile, the smile of a man who'd caught a liar mid-lie. "You mean the beach property, the rental on Sullivan's Island?" The color drained from Ashley's face. "This house?" I let the words hang. "This house has only one name on the deed. Richard James Carson. Mine. I never added anyone." Ashley's mask cracked. "You're lying." "I considered it," I continued, voice growing stronger. "But my lawyer advised me to wait, to be sure about family dynamics. If you're not subscribed, you're about to miss the revenge of a lifetime." Daniel stared at me, reality crashing down. "Dad, the papers were for the beach property, which I'm selling next month." I turned to Ashley. "So let me be crystal clear. You and your father have exactly 48 hours to get out. Daniel," I looked at my son, heartbreak mixing with rage, You have a choice to make." Ashley's face twisted. "You can't do this. We have rights. Daniel, tell him about—" "Shut up, Ashley," Daniel snapped. But it was too late. "Tell me about what?" I demanded. Silence, heavy and suffocating. Finally, Daniel whispered, "Ashley's pregnant. A grandchild. The one thing that could make me hesitate." Ashley knew it too. I saw it in her calculating eyes. "Congratulations. That changes nothing about property rights. But it makes me wonder, were you planning to tell me, or would I have found out from the nursing home?" "Dad, please—" I held up my hand. "You have until Friday at 5 p.m. After that, locks change. Anything left goes to Goodwill." Ashley grabbed Daniel's arm. "You'll never see your grandchild. I swear to God, Richard. I buried my wife in this town, built a business from nothing, survived things you can't imagine. If you think threats about a grandchild will make me surrender everything I've worked for, you've seriously miscalculated who you're dealing with." I walked past them towards my bedroom, the one they'd already claimed. Comment below, would you have handled this differently? I opened the door, and what I saw made my blood freeze. Papers, legal documents, spread across my bed like a battle plan. Power of attorney forms, mental incompetency evaluations, conservatorship applications. They hadn't just planned to take my house. They'd planned to declare me mentally incompetent and take everything. My freedom, my money, my dignity. Everything. And that's when I knew this wasn't over. The real war was just beginning. 4:47 a.m. I sat in my truck outside First Citizens Bank. Hadn't slept. Couldn't. Catherine's journal in my lap, the one I'd grabbed from my briefcase before Ashley could find it. My wife's handwriting stared up at me in the orange glow of parking lot lights. The entry was dated 2 weeks before she died. "Richard, if you're reading this after I'm gone, Ashley isn't who she pretends to be." My throat tightened. "I found something. It's in the safety deposit box. Trust no one, not even Daniel. He's being manipulated and doesn't see it. Box number 447. Our anniversary is the code." Catherine knew. She'd tried to warn me, and I'd dismissed it as her illness talking. The cancer spreading to her brain, making her paranoid. But she wasn't paranoid. She was protecting me. At 8 a.m. sharp, I was first through those bank doors. The safety deposit box felt heavier than it should. Inside, a flash drive, and another note in Catherine's shaking handwriting. "I'm sorry I didn't live long enough to protect you from this, but I can protect you now." I plugged the drive into my laptop right there in the bank's privacy room, and what I found changed everything. Photos of Ashley with another man, not Daniel, at a jewelry store. Date stamp 6 months before she met my son at that coffee shop. A marriage certificate. Ashley Hendricks married to someone named Gerald Patterson, 2019, never divorced. Court documents. Gerald Patterson restraining order filed against Ashley Hendricks for financial fraud and identity theft. Private investigator reports. Catherine had hired someone, paid cash, tracked Ashley's entire history. But the worst part? The audio files. I clicked one. Ashley's voice came through crystal clear. "Once the old man's out of the way, the house is ours. Daniel's too stupid to see what's coming. My dad's already got the paperwork ready. 6 months, tops, and we'll have everything liquidated." I sat there. Bank vault silent around me. Rage building like a wildfire in my chest. But I didn't scream, didn't punch the wall. Catherine's voice echoed in my memory. "The best revenge is the kind they never see coming. I copied everything to 3 separate drives, encrypted them. Then I went home. Ashley was making breakfast when I walked in, humming. Actually humming. "Morning, Richard," she said sweetly. Fake. So painfully fake now that I knew. "Sleep well?" "Like a baby," I lied, pouring coffee. "Listen, I've been thinking about the baby, about family." I forced a smile. "Maybe we can work something out." Her eyes lit up. Victory. She thought she'd won. "Really? Oh, Richard, I knew you'd come around." "Give me a few days to think it through. Talk to my lawyer about options. Maybe there's a way we can all stay here. Make it work." She practically glowed. "Of course, take all the time you need." I went to my room, my real room, not the one they'd claimed, and closed the door. Then I made the first call. "Tom, it's Richard Carson. I need you to file something for me, quietly, and I need you to contact every estate attorney in Charleston County. Tell them Daniel and Ashley Carson are shopping for representation. Tell them there's a conflict of interest. My case takes precedence." Locking down their options. First move. Second call went to a number on Catherine's private investigator report. "Mr. Patterson, I don't know you, but we have someone in common. Her name's Ashley Hendricks, and I think we need to talk." The conversation lasted 17 minutes. When I hung up, my hands were shaking, not from fear, from purpose. Gerald Patterson had lost his family home, his mother's estate, his inheritance, everything, to Ashley and her father Franklin's scheme. But here's the twist that'll keep you up tonight. Ashley had done this before Gerald, too. 3 other families, 3 other schemes all across the South. And I was supposed to be number 4. Comment revenge if you do the same thing. I spent the next 72 hours building my case like Catherine had taught me, methodically, precisely, with cold calculation. I documented everything. Ashley's spending on my credit cards, $7,000 at luxury stores in the past month alone, another $4,000 at a spa in Hilton Head. Daniel's forged signatures on insurance policy changes I never authorized. Bank transfers I didn't make. Small amounts, $50 here, $100 there, testing the waters before the big theft. I photographed every interaction, recorded every conversation. South Carolina's a one-party consent state. They didn't need to know. And I kept smiling, kept playing the confused old man they needed me to be. But on the 4th night, everything changed. I woke up at 2 a.m. to voices downstairs, crept to the top of the stairs. Ashley and a man I didn't recognize. Expensive suit, leather briefcase. "Had you signed the updated will?" the man was saying. "Not yet, but we will. Once we get him confused enough, he'll sign anything. The Ambien in his coffee is working perfectly." My throat went red. They'd been drugging me. The forgetfulness Daniel mentioned, the confusion, the missed appointments they kept bringing up, all manufactured, all lies. "Your father's confident the judge will grant conservatorship?" the man continued. "Absolutely. Franklin's handled 6 cases like this. Easy money. Subscribe before this gets darker, because it will." I recorded every word. Then I made one more call. This one to Detective Holland, Charleston, PD, an old friend from my Boeing days. "Sarah, it's Richard Carson. Remember that favor you owe me? Time to call it in." When I finally went back to bed, I didn't sleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Catherine, about trust, about family, about how the people who smile at your dinner table can be planning your destruction over dessert. And I thought about what Ashley said. Daniel's too stupid to see what's coming. She was wrong about one thing. Daniel wasn't stupid. He was about to get the education of his life. The manila envelope arrived at Daniel's work on a Tuesday. No return address, just his name typed across the front. I know, because I watched from across the street, watched him open it in his car during lunch break. Watched his face go white as he read Catherine's investigator reports. Watched him drive straight to Ashley's boutique downtown. The screaming match lasted 14 minutes. Then Daniel called me. "Dad, we need to talk, now." We met at Waterfront Park, neutral ground. Daniel looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Is it true?" His voice cracked. "All of it?" "Every word." He sat down hard on a bench, put his head in his hands. "God, Dad, I'm so sorry. She told me you were getting confused, forgetting things. She showed me evidence." "Manufactured evidence," I said quietly. "She's been putting Ambien in my coffee. Small doses, just enough to make me foggy." Daniel's head snapped up. "What?" "Catherine knew, before she died. She hired an investigator, gathered proof, left it for me." I handed him another envelope. "This is everything. Her real name, her previous marriages, the families she's destroyed." My son opened it with shaking hands. Inside, police reports from 3 different states, testimonies from victims, financial records showing Ashley and Franklin's pattern spanning 7 years. "There's no baby, is there?" Daniel whispered. "Not unless she's further along than she claimed, but I doubt it. I think it was just another manipulation tool." He looked at me then, really looked at me. "I almost helped her steal your life." "Almost," I agreed, "but you didn't. Only subscribers know how this ends. Are you one of them?" "What do we do?" Daniel asked. I pulled out my phone. Showed him the recording from 3 nights ago. Ashley's voice, crystal clear. "Once the old man's out of the way, the house is ours." My son's jaw tightened. "When?" "Tomorrow. Detective Holland's ready. But I need you to do something first. Anything. Go home. Act normal. Tell Ashley you convinced me to sign new documents, that I'm coming around. Get her confident, comfortable." Daniel nodded slowly. "She's been pressuring me to get you to sign a revised will. Says it's just in case something happens." "Perfect. Tell her I agreed, that I want to do it tomorrow at my lawyer's office, 3 p.m. "But you're not really—" "Oh, I'll be there," I smiled. "But so will 4 other people she's definitely not expecting." The next day, I watched Ashley get ready like it was her wedding day. Designer dress, perfect makeup, practiced smile. She thought she'd won. At 2:45, we all arrived at Tom Webster's office. Ashley, Daniel, Franklin Hendricks, and me. Tom's conference room was bigger than usual, had to be, because waiting inside were Detective Sarah Holland, Charleston PD, Gerald Patterson, Ashley's first husband, Teresa Morgan from Georgia, another victim, and Catherine's investigator, a woman named Diana Cross. Ashley froze in the doorway. "What is this?" Her voice climbed an octave. "This is accountability." Franklin tried to bolt. 2 officers blocked the exit. "Ashley Hendricks Patterson," Detective Holland began, "you're under investigation for elder fraud, conspiracy to commit theft, and identity fraud across state lines." "You can't prove anything," Ashley spat. I pulled out my phone. played the recording. Her own voice filled the room. "Once the old man's out of the way, the house is ours." Her face drained of color. "That's illegally recorded. You can't—" "South Carolina's a one-party consent state. Perfectly legal," Tom Webster said smoothly. Gerald Patterson stood up. "She did the exact same thing to my mother, convinced her she had dementia, filed for conservatorship, cleaned out her accounts before we even knew what was happening." Teresa Morgan added, "My father lost his farm, 40 years of work, gone in 6 months. Drop a comment. Is this justice or revenge?" Franklin finally spoke. "You have no idea who you're dealing with, Carson. I'm an attorney. I know every loophole." "You were an attorney, past tense. The state bar has been very interested in my reports. Seems you've been running this operation for quite some time." The room fell silent. Ashley looked at Daniel, last desperate play. "Baby, tell them your father's been confused that he—" "There is no baby," Daniel said quietly. "I found the fake pregnancy test in your purse last week, along with the Ambien you've been putting in Dad's coffee." Her face twisted into something ugly, something real. "You pathetic—" "Ma'am," Detective Holland cut her off, "you have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it." But Ashley wasn't done. She turned to me, venomous. "You think you've won? You'll die alone in that house. Your son will never forgive you for this. You'll have nothing." "I have my life, my home, my dignity. And unlike you, I earned them." Franklin was cuffed first, then Ashley. As they were let out, Ashley screamed back at me, "I'll fight this, I'll—" The door closed. Silence. Daniel sat down hard. Diana Cross handed him water. "Mr. Carson, we'll need formal statements from everyone. This case will likely take months to prosecute fully." "I'm not going anywhere." After everyone left, it was just Daniel and I in Tom's office. "Dad, I don't know how to—" "You came back. When it mattered, you chose right. That's what counts." But here's what I didn't tell him in that moment. The deepest cut wasn't Ashley's betrayal. It was watching my son, my boy, stand beside her while she tried to destroy me. That wound would take longer to heal than any legal battle.
3 weeks later, the real nightmare began. Ashley made bail. Franklin didn't. His record was too extensive. But Ashley's family in Virginia posted her bond. And that's when the harassment started. Late-night phone calls, hang-ups, cars driving slowly past my house at 2 a.m., emails from fake accounts. "You'll regret this. Watch your back." Daniel moved back in with me, said he couldn't stomach the apartment he'd shared with her. We were like strangers sharing a house, both trying to figure out how to rebuild something that felt permanently broken. Then Mrs. Chen, my neighbor, knocked on my door. "Richard, you need to see this." Someone had spray-painted my garage door. 3 words in red. "Old man dies." Detective Holland increased patrols, recommended security cameras, but the damage was done. I couldn't sleep, jumped at every sound. This wasn't the revenge I'd imagined. This was war. Subscribe now. The next twist will shock you. Daniel found me in Catherine's garden one night, 2 a.m. I was just sitting there staring at her headstone. "Dad?" I keep thinking, maybe I should have just left, taken the nursing home, avoided all this. He sat beside me. She would have kept coming. People like Ashley don't stop. "Your mother tried to warn me. I didn't listen." "You listened when it mattered," Daniel said quietly. "You saved us both." But here's what neither of us knew. Ashley wasn't acting alone. The next morning, Tom Webster called. His voice was tense. "Richard, we have a problem. Someone filed a countersuit, claiming you coerced Daniel into testifying against Ashley, claiming you manipulated evidence. That's insane. It's Franklin. He's representing her from jail somehow. And there's more. My gut twisted. What? 3 witnesses have come forward, claiming they saw you acting erratically. One says you threatened Ashley, another claims you've been stalking her. That's all lies. I know, but it complicates things. The prosecution's getting nervous. They're worried about reasonable doubt. I hung up and immediately called Detective Holland. She didn't answer. 30 minutes later, she showed up at my door. Her expression said everything. "We need to talk," she said. Turns out Ashley had hired a private investigator too, and somehow, they'd gotten photos of me outside Daniel's old apartment, outside Ashley's boutique, outside the courthouse. Context removed. They looked bad, real bad. "Richard, I believe you," Sarah said, "but my supervisor's getting pressure. Ashley is painting herself as the victim here. Young woman targeted by vindictive father-in-law." That's insane. I know. But perception matters, and she's good at this. She's done it before. That night, I couldn't eat. Couldn't think straight. Daniel found the Ambien bottle in the trash, the one Ashley had been using on me. "Dad, why didn't you keep this as evidence?" I stared at it. I threw it away. Didn't want to see it. His face went pale. "We need that for the case." But here's the thing about evidence. Once it's gone, it's gone. And Ashley knew it. What would you do? Comment below. The preliminary hearing was set for Monday, 3 days away. Tom Webster laid out our case. Financial records, testimony from other victims, Catherine's investigator reports. But Ashley's lawyer countered with spurned father-in-law, manipulated son, fabricated evidence. The judge looked skeptical of us. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt it slipping away. Everything. "We need something bigger," Tom said. "Something she can't refute." That night, Daniel did something I'll never forget. He went to Ashley's mother's house in Virginia, drove 5 hours unannounced. "Mrs. Patterson, I need to ask you something, and I need the truth." What he discovered changed everything. Ashley's mother cried when she told him about Ashley's history, the lies, the schemes that started in high school, the families they'd fled from. "I tried to stop her," Mrs. Patterson whispered, "but Franklin, he encouraged it, said she was gifted at reading people, treated it like a talent instead of a sickness." She gave Daniel something else. A box of documents Ashley had left behind years ago. Practice documents, templates for forging signatures, guides on identifying vulnerable targets, a playbook. Daniel drove straight back, arrived at 4 a.m., woke me up. "Dad, we've got her." The documents went straight to Detective Holland. She hand-delivered them to the prosecutor at 6 a.m. By noon, new charges were filed. Organized fraud, racketeering, conspiracy across state lines. Federal charges. Franklin tried to claim attorney-client privilege. Didn't matter. The evidence was overwhelming. But here's the twist that will haunt me. When they arrested Ashley again, this time without bail, she looked at Daniel through the police car window, and she smiled. Not a defeated smile, not regret, a promise. "This isn't over," she mouthed. 3 days later, Someone broke into my house while Daniel and I were at the courthouse. Nothing stolen. But every photo of Catherine, every single run, was destroyed, ripped to pieces, scattered across our bedroom floor. And on the mirror, written in lipstick, "Who's suffering now?"
The trial lasted 6 weeks. Ashley wore muted colors, acted subdued, apologetic. Her lawyer painted her as a victim of Franklin's manipulation, a daughter who didn't know better. I watched from the gallery, rage simmering as she dabbed fake tears. But then Diana Cross took the stand, Catherine's investigator. She brought receipts, literally. Bank records showing Ashley had been planning schemes since age 19, long before Franklin's influence. Text messages from 2017, where Ashley coached Franklin on elder law tactics. Emails to previous boyfriends outlining targets and vulnerable opportunities. The prosecution rested with one final witness, Gerald Patterson's mother, 83 years old, wheelchair-bound. "That woman," she pointed at Ashley with a shaking finger, "told me my son didn't love me anymore, that I was becoming a burden. She visited every day, brought me tea, listened to my stories, made me feel valued." Her voice broke. "Then she convinced me to sign papers giving her power of attorney, said it would help Gerald with his taxes. Within 2 months, my accounts were empty, my house was gone, and Ashley disappeared." The courtroom was silent. "I tried to kill myself," the old woman continued, "because I believed I was worthless, that my own son had abandoned me. It took Gerald 6 months to find me, to explain what happened. By then, I'd lost everything except him." She looked directly at Ashley. "You didn't just steal my money, you stole my will to live." The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Franklin got 15 years, Ashley got 12. Walking out of that courthouse, I should have felt victorious. Instead, I felt empty. Daniel drove us home in silence. Only subscribers see what really happened next. Don't miss this. 2 months passed. The house was mine again, legally, completely. Tom Webster handled the civil suit. We recovered most of what Ashley had stolen, plus damages. But the house felt massive, hollow. I'd walk past the guest room, Daniel's old room, and remember when it held his childhood, his laughter, his mother tucking him in. Now it was just empty. Daniel had moved to a small apartment downtown, said he needed space to process everything. We talked weekly, stiff, awkward conversations about weather and work. The wounds were still too fresh. I started having breakfast in Catherine's garden every morning, talking to her headstone like she could hear me. "I won," I'd tell her, "just like you planned. So why does it feel like I lost something bigger?" Then one Saturday, a knock at my door. A young woman stood there, late 20s, nervous smile. "Mr. Carson, my name's Lydia Patterson. Gerald Patterson is my father." My heart skipped. "Is he okay?" "He's great, actually, rebuilding his life. He told me what you did, how you helped him get justice." She hesitated. "I'm a social worker. I work with elder abuse victims, and I wanted to ask, would you be willing to speak, share your story, help others recognize the signs?" Something shifted in my chest. Yes, I would. Over the next 6 months, I spoke at community centers, senior centers, legal seminars. Each time, I told Catherine's story, how she protected me even after death. Someone would approach afterward with tears in their eyes. "My daughter's doing this to me. I think my son's wife is planning something. Thank you. I thought I was crazy." And slowly, purpose replaced emptiness. Daniel started coming to the talks, sitting in the back, supporting silently. One night, after a particularly emotional session, we sat in my truck in the parking lot. "Mom would be proud," Daniel said quietly, "of both of us. Your mother saved my life, twice. Once when she married me, and once when she left me that evidence. I'm sorry, Dad, for not seeing it sooner, for taking her side." I turned to him. "You were manipulated by an expert, someone who's been doing this since she was a teenager. That's not weakness, son. That's being human. I should have trusted you. You came back when it mattered. That's what I'll remember." We sat there for a long time, not talking, just present. Comment below. Would you have forgiven him? A year after the trial, something unexpected happened. Mrs. Patterson, Gerald's mother, called me. "Richard, I have a strange favor to ask." It turns out she'd inherited a small property in Charleston, a little bungalow near Foley Beach, but she couldn't maintain it from Georgia. Gerald suggested, "Maybe you'd know someone who could use it, a veteran maybe, someone starting over." I thought about it, then called Daniel.
How would you feel about managing a rental property? A small one. Help someone who needs a fresh start. My son's voice brightened. Yeah, I'd like that. The first tenant was a woman named Grace. 46. Just escaped a financially abusive marriage, starting over with 2 kids and nothing but determination. Daniel waived her first month's rent, set up a fund to help with utilities. Watching him help her move in, I saw the boy I raised, the man Catherine had dreamed he'd become. Redemption isn't a moment. It's 1,000 small choices to be better than your worst day. 2 years after the trial, Daniel met someone new. Her name was Olivia, teacher, kind eyes, cautious. She'd been hurt before too. He brought her to Sunday dinner at my house. First time in years we'd had a guest. "Dad," Daniel said nervously, "I wanted you to meet her first, before anything gets serious. I want to do this right." I shook Olivia's hand. "Has he told you about his mother?" She nodded. "He talks about her a lot, about how she was the strongest person he knew." "She was," I agreed. "And she taught us both something important. Trust is earned slowly and can be destroyed instantly. But if you're both willing to build it carefully," I looked at my son, "it can survive almost anything." Final question. Was this revenge, or was this survival? 3 years post-trial, I stood in Catherine's garden. New roses blooming, the ones Daniel and I planted together last spring. "We made it," I told her headstone. "Not the way I expected, not without scars, but we made it." My phone buzzed. Text from Daniel. "Olivia said yes. We're engaged. Can we tell you about it over dinner tonight?" I smiled, typed back, "I'll make your mother's pot roast. Be here at 6. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. Sometimes it's about refusing to let cruel people win. It's about choosing every single day to build instead of break. Catherine taught me that. She saved me twice, once by loving me and once by protecting me after she was gone. And in the end, the best revenge? It was living well, healing, watching my son become the man she always believed he could be. Ashley is in prison for another 9 years. Franklin lost his law license permanently. Gerald Patterson rebuilt his relationship with his mother. And me? I'm not alone anymore.
not in the ways that matter. Subscribe if you believe some battles are worth fighting, because sometimes refusing to give up is the greatest revenge of all. What would you have done? Fought back or walked away? Drop your answer below. And if this story hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Sometimes the best revenge is simply surviving and proving you're stronger than they ever believed.